Hello, captains. This is Kent again, and welcome to the Flight Show. Okay, so what is this show about today? Well, I was asked by someone who was looking at the channel about how they really are enjoying Prepared 5. And they're wondering, how do I bring over airports from Prepared 4 or, a previous version, Flight Simulator X, and bring it over? And I said, well, there are a lot of different ways, and it kind of depends on the developer. But I also know that sometimes this can go awry, so I need to give a disclaimer. I can only recommend that you only install aircraft and or scenery that has been specifically designed for Prepared 5. If you use it for a previous version, such as myself, I cannot take responsibility if things go awry. Now, I will try to give you all the warnings that I can based on the experiences that I have had, but again, I cannot say that I can be responsible, but I am going to show you what I do, and I will show you where I've messed up, or if I come across that. And there are a lot of different variations, so I may not be able to get to everything, but I'm going to give you an example. I have just purchased, and by the way, this airport that I've just purchased is for Prepared 5. But even though I installed it, as you can see here, that airport did not show up. Now you might go, well, why is it that this SODE or SODE gate showed up along with the regular standard gate? Well, that happened because this particular airport has a SODE executable install file to accompany the airport. So evidently, the SODE showed up, but the airport didn't. But the process that you go through, if you were trying to bring an airport over from Prepared 4, is the same. So I was going to use this as an example, and we'll see how it works. So what you do is you're going to go into, I have it on 3 screens, I'll bring it down to 2. What you're going to do is you're going to go into Scenery Library, and you're going to have to know where you installed the program. If it were Prepared 5, then there are a couple of things you can do. You can drag it over, well, one thing at a time. Let's show you what I'm going to do for this. First, you're going to go to Add Scenery, and as you can see, you're already in your particular program. Now, I directed this install not into the actual Prepared 5 folder, but in the add-ons folder, which is actually in the subfolder of your documents. So I go to Prepared 5 to add-ons, and this program, different programs do it differently, but I happen to know this program was made by Sierra Sim. And as you can see, Sierra Sim did one folder here, but then it created another folder where there are a couple of other airports here. And as you can see, I brought in this one airport that was made for Flight Simulator X. So it's installed there, but I would tag it, but I'm not doing that one. I'm doing this one, which I've just purchased, which is Palo Negro International, that's in Colombia. So even though it's here, for whatever reason, Prepared didn't bring it into the actual program. So you highlight this folder. Now, this is what you have to know. When you highlight a folder, if you don't see scenery and texture, when you hit OK and you try to load it, it's not going to work. It's going to say it doesn't see the files. Do you want us to unload this? So you have to make sure that these 2 files are in the subcategory of the folder that you're targeting, or it's not going to work. So then you do that, and then you hit OK. Now it says this path already exists. So if it already exists, then we have to ask ourselves, well, then why is the airport not there? Because what sometimes happens is the original airport is on top of it. But let's take a look and see really fast. Because if it was recently installed, it should show up. So we have to look and see. Do we see it? If it takes too long, I may edit it. Like, here's another Sierra Sim, but that's not our airport. We're looking for Sierra Kilo Bravo Golf, and that's not this. In fact, that was the folder that I had shown you earlier that was sharing the folder that I was talking about. So that's not it. So I don't see it in any of these. Not off the. That's Mega Sao Paulo. No. Rio Porta. Ribeirão Porta. Is that it? No, that's not it either. So, and this is not it. That's grayed out. The whole graying out thing is a whole nother ball of wax I won't get into just yet. So let's go down here. Sierra Sim. So I think now we can at least be looking for something that has Sierra Sim. But this is not my airport. Again, I'm looking for SKBG. Don't see it, but it said that it's here, so I want to take a look and see if it's checked. That's SKPS, so that's not it. Going down. Okay, so it's like unless y'all saw it and I didn't, let's go back. Let's just look for Sierra Sim, because that's kind of like the going rate as to what it will show. Sierra, that ain't it. Or, so try to be also on the lookout for the actual name of the airport, because it may not have it as Sierra Sim. Sierra Sim. Is it any of these that are grayed out already? No. SEGU, no. Santos, Sierra, oh, that's MPPA. That's the one that I installed just prior to that. So I don't know why it's not there. All right, let's go back in and take a quick look. Just want to make sure that I didn't overlook anything. So we're going to go back in. We're going to go to here. Go to add-on files. Go to Sierra Sim. And again, it should be SKBG. Now, so I should be looking at Sierra Sim. I should just say Sierra Sim, and then the next would be Sierra Sim SKBG. Oh, there it is. Well, then what happened the last time? I have no idea. All right, so there it is, and it's on top. So let's go ahead and go back to the simulation. This might take a minute, so I might edit it out. So now it says it's loading general scenery index. This could take a second. Now, I should tell you, you can see that I have a lot of scenery that I've brought over. I have a lot of scenery, and not all of it was made specifically for Prepared 5. I've brought a lot over from Prepared 4, even some from Prepared 3, even a couple from Flight Simulator 10. The ones that will work. Some don't. So again, I caution you, if you can get some background information to see if, some other people have tried it, like Googling it just to see if anybody had any nightmares, there's never too much information. So you can research that. If you even want to just message me and say, hey, I have this airport, have you ported it over? What was your experience? I can tell you what my experience was. Okay, should be coming back now. Any second. So this is like, you can pretend that what we just did was an airport that was specifically released for Prepared 4. So you directed it to the add-ons 5 folder, I mean, you can direct it to the prepared folder, but what I've noticed is that when you put a lot of things into the add-ons folder, when you load up prepared, it's going to ask, do you want us to activate this? And you tell it yes, and boom, there it is. But it doesn't always do that, and I don't really know the rhyme or reason as to what the queue is, but that's why I like putting them in. Plus, if I have to uninstall or do whatever type of maintenance, all of my airports are already in one spot, and then all I have to do is this procedure that we're doing to bring them all back instead of having to reinstall everything. So I like putting all of my scenery in the add-ons folder. Some of them are installed into the prepared folder, especially when I don't feel like having to figure out how to make it work. But suffice all that to say, just keep that in mind. Now, the more scenery you have, the longer it takes. Now, check it out. Notice you now have a brand spanking new airport, but the plane hasn't moved. And the reason the plane hasn't moved is because you now have a new AFCAD. And AFCAD is basically the file that is the layout of the airport. So your plane is exactly where you left it, but the third-party airport's AFCAD may have the gates a little bit misaligned from what the default was. So all you got to do is go over here to go to airport. You're already at your airport, so just tell it to go, and look, a whole new bunch of gates. Just tell it a new gate. And when it brings it back, it should be in the proper spot with the proper AFCAD. Let's take a look. As I said, when you have a lot of scenery, it takes time. Oh, here we go. Ooh, this is nice. But see, remember, this particular airport was designed for Prepared 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump out of the being tethered to the plane. I'm going to hit static. And this is using chase plane. We're going to take a look around the airport and just see what it looks like. Alright, so just move. I'm making my command so that I can move around a bit faster. There we go. Look at this countryside. Oh my gosh. This is beautiful. Now, you have to also bear in mind that I'm using Ultimate Global Mesh, and I'm using Orbix Buildings, HD Building, so it adds buildings that are reminiscent of that particular region to make it more rich. Now, notice this airport is on a high ridge, so this is going to be considered a difficult approach. So you're definitely not coming in at sea level, you're coming in, woo! Check that out. So you know I got to do a flight flying into this. Don't ask why this is flickering, I don't even know. But anyway, you know, sorry, hit the wrong key. You know I'm going to do a flight into this airport. Okay, so that's how you do it. You just have to, like, let's just say you have prepared 4.5 already on your computer. So I'm just going to give you an example. Here's prepared 4 and 5. They're both on the same hard drive with my computer. And this is the actual prepared. Let's do something different. Let's go into, what the heck? Let's go to prepared 4 add-ons. So here are all these add-on, let's just, take a given airport. I could copy this airport, Latin VFR Miami. And let's just say I copy it. I'm not going to really copy it, but I'm going to give you the demonstration. Then I come over to prepared 5, and then I'll paste it here. Okay? Now let's see. Latin VFR. There's Miami. Now let's just say that that's the paste. Okay? Because I've already installed it, and they've updated. What I love, Latin VFR has updated, I almost believe, all of their software to be installed with 5. But let's just pretend this is some other program that has not updated just yet. So you copy it there. Now that it's there, just go back and do exactly what we did before. You go to Scenery, you add an area, you tell it to go to Documents, Prepared 5, and then tag, where's mommy? Tag that, hit OK. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to mess up what I already got. It'll go here, then you hit OK, and it should pop up at the top here, then go back into your thing. I suggest that you be at the airport that you're doing it for so you can immediately see whether it's loaded properly. But remember, you have to have that scenery and texture folder in the subfolder in the folder that you're highlighting. Sometimes they put those two folders in data, in a data folder, and you don't want to highlight the data folder because if several programs have the data folder and you do it once, the word data is already taken up. So they won't recognize any other folders that you do that for. So that's why I was telling you that this can get a little complicated. But basically, I think I've given you enough to rock and roll. Again, I caution you. I cannot take responsibility if you mess this up. Some stuff, particularly when you want to go all the way back to Flight Simulator 10 and install something, sometimes it works beautifully. Sometimes the elevation levels are different and it just doesn't work. So you kind of have to use your best judgment. Now, before we go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a Flight Simulator 10 install that I did, and it was actually the last video that I posted because I posted flying into Sao Paulo, which is Sierra Bravo, Sierra Papa. So let's just go there really fast so you can take a look and see what the scenery looks like in Prepared 5. So let's see. Sierra Bravo, Sierra Papa. All right, and we're going to put it at the gate. Okay, let's go there. Oh, darn it! I can already tell you that I've messed this up. I didn't go back inside my airplane because remember I untethered. So my camera is actually going to still be at the airport where we were. And they've loaded the scene where we're going, so it's going to look totally like lame. So what I'm going to have to do is go back. So here is a tip. I'm glad we actually had this mistake. If you're using a chase plane and you leave outside your aircraft so you can kind of like walk around, look around the airport to see what it looks like, totally cool. But if you go to another airport, you have to make sure that you port back into your cockpit because since you're not tethered to the aircraft, when it loads the scenery, your camera is going to stay where you were. The plane and everything else is going, they're loading up where the plane was sent to. So where you are ain't got no scenery. And it's going to look like what you're about to see right now. Oh, yeah. Wait, yeah. All right, so here we are here. But the plane, it's when we try to go back to the cockpit of the plane. So this is where we just left. Now watch what happens when I try to jump in the cockpit. Yeah, we're like in oblivion. And so it's going to try to load this stuff back up again. And it takes a while. In fact, look, he's flipping. It's cats and dogs sleeping together. Pure pandemonium. So what you do is just come back here and reinstall Gate Small. I'm already in the cockpit, so hopefully that should work. It should work right now. So yeah, don't make that mistake. I tend to forget to go back in the cockpit. It just, you always say, all right, I'll never forget that. And then you do it again. So just keep that in mind. All right, it's loading back up. Now, there are other ways of going about this. Like you can also, I'll do one other thing before I end this tutorial. You can install, but there's certain programs that will not let you direct towards the folder that you want. So you can install a program and it's going to say, okay, we're going to put it in Prepared 4, but then they'll give you the option to change it to Prepared 5. And it just installs it there and you keep it moving. And again, I like to tell it to go into the add-ons folder rather than into Prepared 5. But If you get something off of SimMarket, depending on the program, SimMarket wants to install things in the SimMarket subfolder that is created when you install your first program that's from SimMarket that uses this particular protocol. And the thing is, sometimes it won't let you redirect it. So you kind of have to let it install in Prepared 4, then do the copy paste into Prepared 5, and then redirect it, and then load it using the method that I showed you. Most of the time it works fine. Sometimes it doesn't. Especially if it's with one of those like, you cannot do that. You cannot do that effectively with Fly Tampa. I just had to wait until they made the installers. They first told you what to do on their website and their forums to do what I'm talking about, but there were certain files you needed to delete and add. But so this doesn't really work with Fly Tampa. But they now have installers, so you can take the airports that you had and install them in Prepared 5. That being said, there are other airports that it's no big deal. Like, I just installed Aerosoft's Frankfurt, and it worked right out of the gate. But they made their own updates, and I assure you, use the update. Now, for airports that convert over from 4 to 5, do you have to pay for the updates? It depends on the airport. Frankfurt, Germany, I do not believe you had to. I don't think you had to pay to move up to Prepared version 5. They just released new installers. You go to wherever you bought it. It's already there. Just download it and install. Everything was fine. And I think I had to uninstall the original airport and reinstall the new one. Some don't even say you don't even have to do that. It just depends. It's a case-by-case basis. But they usually tell you whether you need to or not. Because if you bought it on SimMarket, they'll email you and say there's an update, and they tell you if they're good. They'll tell you, don't need to reinstall, just run the installer and everything's fine. And then sometimes they'll say, this is a new installer, you need to uninstall the old one and put in the new one. So just look at the directions, and that should be it. Okay, so as you can see, this is taking forever. I might edit this down at this point, but again, those are basically the main ways that you bring over. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is us at Sao Paulo, Brazil, the most populous city in Brazil. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump out the airplane again because I'm not going anywhere after this. Pardon the freeze. All right, so I'm outside. I need to speed this up. That's a little slow. Okay. So now, in the days of Flight Simulator 10, this was the bomb. In the days of Prepared, not so much. But I promise you, what it offers is a whole lot better than the default. It was uninspiring at best. Now you might think, well, where are the SODI gates? I don't see the gates extending. Actually, you got to look at this actually very carefully. Those gates are actually there. Let me show you. We'll bring it over to this TAM. What kind of plane is this? Oh yeah, this is an Airbus. Okay, so check it out. The gates are actually here, and what they would do is extend out to the door. Now, are these, do they actuate? Do they actually move? I don't think they do. But I'm just letting you know that the gates are actually here. Oh, look, my what do you call? Our AI aircraft are popping in. Wonderful. But as you can see, the gates are actually there. They don't actuate, but this is the way they're actually designed there. So as you can see, this is now. By the way, when I bought this, it was not just this airport. I think it's Paulo something. I forget who makes this. I gotta look. But nevertheless, the company that makes this made this entire region, this entire city, And in this city, there are 5 airports, and it put all of them in there, this being one of them. So I thought it was worth the 28 euros because I got 3 airports for the price of 1, which gives me some, variety in the places to fly in South America. So I was like, okay, I'll roll with it. So I go back to, no, this is not perfect. It's not, I know who to compare it to. Fly Tampa does great cities, really populated buildings. This is not Fly Tampa level. This is not Dwicky level, but it's better than the default because all of this was brought in by the program that I downloaded. And again, this is Prepared 6. Nice bridge. There's my traffic. Yes, I like having traffic. Brings the city alive. And with this city, it needs some life because by Prepared 5 standards, it's a little sparse. But again, it's 10 times better than the default, so I'm happy with it because I try to bring you cities to fly into that have something other than default to make the experience that much better. More immersive, if you will. So, there you have it. So this, and as I said, this is not Prepared 1, 2, 3, or 4. This was created for Flight Simulator 10. So it can be done. Some work well, some do not. And I will leave it at that. So, I'm almost tempted to show you one more airport that I did that was strictly prepared. I mean, it was a Flight Simulator 10, and I think I will show it to you. It is in Chile. We're going to go to Puerto Montt in Chile. So this is Sierra Charlie Victor Delta. Let's do that real fast. Oh, get back in the airplane, Ken. I know y'all were like, I hope he gets back in the airplane. I did. Okay, so Sierra Charlie Victor Delta. Okay, it's a cute airport. I just did, I think I did a flight on this. I'm almost certain I did. I bought it just so I can have some South American airports to fly into. And this one is a delight. It's prepared. It's Flight Simulator 10, but I really like it. All right, it worked. All right, so let's take a look outside, and let's hop outside the airplane. Why are we still here? I was in the airplane. There we go. Okay. But it's gliding. I hate it when it does that. Okay. Are we good? I don't know why it does that. I start a glide and I can't stop it. Well, luckily it's slow, so it won't mess up what we're trying to show too much. So, as you can see, oops, didn't mean to do that. I'm still gliding, but that's all right. Let's see. Need to speed it up. All right. So, as you can see, here's our airport. The scenery, they're in fall, about to enter winter in South America. I mean, that's just absolutely beautiful. Because, by the way, I'm using Terraflora's trees and HD trees from Orbix. So the surrounding scenery, and this looks like photoreal grass. So this was from the region. And though this is not, Aerosoft mega kind of level, oh my gosh, if you saw the default, it was like barely a hut and some stands. But this is nice. In my last video, I believe I flew into this airport using an ATR 72. And I really wanted to use the Airbus 19, but my computer kept crashing while I used them, so I got to fix that. But all I'm saying is, yes, you can bring in Flight Simulator 10 scenery to Prepared 5 with caution. Not all of them want to work right, particularly Tropical Sim. I did a bulk thing for them. I got they was on sale. It was like 8 airports, and only a fraction of them really worked right. It just would have been better to buy them individually. But I digress, because it installed them all. I couldn't just choose the airports. It just said, here they all are, you work it out. So it was not trying to work with Prepared 5 at all. But you get my point. So I hope this video was helpful. Again, I can't take responsibility, but if you follow what I showed you, you should be cool And if you want to ask me a specific question before you do it, feel free to put it in the comments, and I'll give you my best. Now, if it messes up, I can't necessarily help you because I'm not there to see it. I can't work with it. So again, I'm not recommending you do it. I'm not taking responsibility. I'm showing you what I did, and the rest is you. But I will say this much. You learn a lot from fixing your mistakes, because then you learn how it works, so you learn how not to make mistakes again. So there is a certain value of effing things up. Hope you're patient, though. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial about how to bring programs over from Prepared 4 or as far back as Flight Simulator 10. I love this airport. It is so simple, but it's cool. And I dare say, I don't know if it was this airport, but I was at an airport that had this kind of design recently, and that gate slides out to meet the aircraft. Don't think it was here. It's another airport, but if you get it, that's cool. Might be Santos in Rio de Janeiro, but I digress. All right, take care, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you in the virtual skies.